So let's dive into the offer to purchase packet. When we discuss an offer to purchase or an offer, ideally, you want to establish in your mind we're truly talking about a packet of information, a collection of documents. We spoke earlier about knowing what a full and comprehensive offer to purchase consists of. You don't want to leave anything out, as the offer to purchase really sets the baseline for your entire sales transaction. So, if you want to think about it in the context of a packet of information, that sets the expectation we're looking for something with multiple parts. We're not just looking for a price and a closing date. It's the components of the offer to purchase packet that also sets the stage and orients us toward the various points on which we can negotiate with a buyer. So let's put some headlights onto each of the components of an offer to purchase packet. The baseline for everything is the offer to purchase real estate document itself. This is a one-page promulgated form. Promulgated forms are those that are drafted and created by licensed attorneys and that can be used with confidence by those who are not licensed attorneys. This particular document establishes the basics, the fundamentals of the transaction. It largely focuses on describing the property, the purchase price offered, and the high level timeline for the transaction. The second component of the packet is on an as needed basis. You can have contingency addendum around, say, a mortgage, an inspection, a radon, pest, lead paint type of inspection. You have a condominium documents addendum. You could have a septic addendum, and so on. These are coupled as riders, if you will, to the offer to purchase document itself. Traditionally, with the initial presentation of an offer to purchase, you'll have a copy of a $1,000 earnest money check. An earnest money deposit should accompany all offers. It's a reflection of good faith on the part of the buyer. When presenting an offer to purchase, anecdotally, what occurs is you will see a photocopy of the earnest money check. Once there's a fully executed and mutually agreed upon offer, the buyer's agent will then hand over the actual check for deposit. In practice, the buyer provides the $1,000 earnest money check to the listing brokerage. It's actually written out to the listing brokerage or the seller's real estate attorney for immediate deposit into their escrow account. The buyer should write in the check memo earnest money deposit for a particular property address. You will soon see how this earnest money deposit plays into the remainder of the deal. The fourth component of this packet centers around financing, if any. If financing is going to be part of the buyer's purchase, a mortgage pre approval letter should accompany the offer to purchase and be part of the packet. You want to see a pre approval, not a pre qualification from a buyer. A pre approval is more thorough and represents a more rigorous entry level engagement with a lending institution. Again, you want to see a pre approval, not a pre qualification. And finally, we have the Massachusetts mandatory licensee consumer relationship disclosure. Now, you're familiar with this document because you executed one with your seller, with your client. But during the offer process, during the listing of the property, you negotiated with the seller not only the commission you would be paid, but also the compensation that seller permitted you to offer a buyer's agent. Now, to protect your client, you want to see the relationship disclosure document, which is between the buyer's agent and the buyer. You want to see their document because it establishes that the buyer's agent is truly representing that buyer. And here's the important point in protecting your seller, that they are due a commission because they are in fact representing the buyer. The relationship disclosure document is mandated by the state of Massachusetts, and it must be signed between the buyer and the buyer's agent during the first material discussion of property, and that doesn't have to be the property that you're listing for sale. Because it's a mandatory document for all buyers agents to sign with their buyer clients, you're not asking for anything special by requesting this document. So, what do you want to look for here? You're verifying the disclosure was signed before the buyer submitted an offer on your listing. Otherwise, that would call into question whether the buyer was actually working with a buyer's agent when they first saw your listing, and whether your seller is really obligated to pay a commission to the buyer's agent. If there are questions about this, it's best to speak with the seller's real estate attorney. For all legitimate offers, look to these 5 components to represent a full and comprehensive offer to purchase. This is what you should expect to see. Be prepared to articulate to a buyer's agent who is interested in preparing and writing an offer on behalf of their client what you expect to see. Oftentimes, buyers or their agents will attempt to get you to negotiate with yourself verbally before there's ever a written offer on the table. Make no mistake, your goal should be to get them to put that offer in writing if they're truly interested in the property. And if you clearly articulate that these 5 things are what is to be expected, that demonstrates you are serious, professional, and mean business. And this is the important thing, you're inherently qualifying the buyer, ensuring that they are a serious and capable buyer, which is so fundamentally important to the success of your deal. Clearly, you don't ever want to take a property off the market by accepting an offer from an unqualified buyer. The offer to purchase packet, all of these piece parts, puts rigor and discipline into the process and protects both you as well as your seller.